Hey crafters, welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name is Katelyn, and today I'm going to show you guys how I inserted this zipper into the center back of this lace top where it did not have an original seam. I really liked the look of this lace top that I bought from a thrift shop, but I wanted to give it some new life and some easier access to get it on and off with a center back zipper. So the first thing I did to this top was make sure to fold it in half and put pins down the very center back, so I have a nice cut line to follow. So I made sure to fold it in half and then use my measuring tape to make sure that they were even on each side. Then I'm going to take my scissors and cut down the center back following the pins that I have. After I have it all cut, I'm just removing my pins, and then I'm going to seam rip the tag off of the top of the neckline. Now that I have everything cut and ready to go, I'm going to use some binding to finish off my seam. Now you can see with this binding that one side does pop out further than the other to make sure that you can catch it on the other side, and that is going to go on the bottom side or the inside of the garment. Then I'm going to take it over to my seam edge and make sure to fold it over the top to give the neckline a finished edge, making sure that the underside of the binding is folded in correctly, and I'm going to pin it in place. This part will take a little bit of adjusting just to make sure that your binding is pinned in the correct position so that when you sew it, it catches both sides. Then I'm just going to continue to do so down this side of the top, making sure that my binding is nice and flat and everything is tucked inside. I used a wider binding for this since this lace does have some wide open holes in it. That way it would have enough support to support the zipper. Then, as I'm getting down to the bottom here, I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the top, making sure that I have enough extra for seam allowance to fold over the edge so it has a nice finish at the bottom. Now that I have this side all completed, I repeated the same process on the other side. Now that I have both sides pinned, I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew up my binding. So I'm going to make sure to sew pretty close to the edge, but enough to make sure that I can catch the underside. And when it's really thick at the bottom like that, I'm just using the tail ends of the thread to to help pull it through just to get it started through the machine, and then the feed dogs will find it easier to pull through after that. And as I'm sewing, I'm just making sure to check the underside to make sure that it is catching. And you do just want to take it pretty slow when you do this step, just to make sure that everything's nice and flat, nothing gets twisted or moved around, and everything stays in place. I'm sorry that this part is a little bit blurry, but there is another step while I'll be sewing this section again and it is much clearer, so I do apologize for that. And once we have that all sewn, I'm going to bring it back over to my table and I'm going to pin my zipper in place. Now this zipper is just slightly longer than my top. It was the only one available that was the closest size that I could buy, so I am slightly easing this zipper in, but if you are going to do this to a garment, try and get the proper length zipper. So I'm trying to pin the binding as close to the zipper teeth as possible, but making sure that it's not going to interfere with the head of the zipper. This way, when I turn it to the other side, which you'll see in a moment, the zipper tape covers the other stitch line, so I can go back later and restitch that so that both sides of the zipper are attached. And again, this will take a little bit of fiddling just to make sure that you have it pinned in the correct spot so it's easier when you get sewing. Once I have that all pinned in place, I do repeat this to the other side, making sure that the zipper is in the same position and everything lines up evenly. And you want to be able to tuck in the top end of your zipper so that it is not visible from the front side. And here again you can see the back side covers that other stitch line, so we'll make sure that both sides are nice and flat. So over to my sewing machine, I'm changing the foot to a zipper foot. That way I can get nice and close to the zipper teeth when I stitch down the binding to the zipper. And once I have that part stitched down, I'm just going to go back and put a few pins to hold down the zipper tape, because I'm going to re-stitch over that first line where we sewed the binding on, and that will hold down the other side of the zipper tape. So I just want to put these pins in to make sure that it stays in place and doesn't get moved around, and I will try and catch all of it as we go down. I'm just going to double check that it caught it all, and I believe there's one spot on the side where it didn't catch, so I'm just going to go back and pin my zipper tape in place and make sure that I can catch that spot. There, so now both sides of our zipper is caught, everything's nice and flat and secured. And then I repeat that to the other side. Now the zipper that was on this was a regular YKK metal zipper, and I wanted to buy a fancier looking zipper, but they didn't have one in the right size. So I just bought a regular one and bought a attachment to make the zipper head have a fancier pull on it. So what I did was took some metal cutters and cut the original tab, and then I used some of these pliers to help pull it out, and then I replaced it with the new one. And I'm going to zip up my top, double check to make sure everything is all good, and I think it looks pretty great. You can definitely apply this to a lot of different garments. If you have any knits or anything like that that are a little bit tricky to finish off the edge, this is a great way to do it to make sure your zipper is nice and secure and your edges are finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and check out Facebook as well. All the links will be down in the description. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next time, crafters. Bye!